Right guys, hey, so Battlefield. I decided this evening to play some Battlefield to have a look at where things are, see where the community is, and it started off not too bad. I was playing earlier with Lone Wolf and Logix, who are some guys I played Battlefield with for a long time. You might remember Lone Wolf, he did some stuff with me back on Hardline. Now I've got a video that I played with him tonight coming up later this week, where it just shows a lot of issues I have, but this round in particular I played later on just alone, because I always think it's important when you kind of come back to look at a community and a multiplayer to, you know, get a good experience and sort of try and feel what it's like if you are a person who doesn't have people to squad up with and you just want to get in, you just want to get some action, or you maybe just want to play like one round and see how you get on, right? Now, also, you're going to think, well, LT, you just played one. I played quite a few rounds this evening, you know, so this is just one round out of several that we played. I probably played for 4 or 5 hours this evening, you know, so I got a good amount of gameplay in, I feel. Also, bear in mind, I haven't played this game for like 6 months, probably more, so I literally just jumped in and I was just trying to smash some rounds. That's about it, really. Also, bear in mind, this is an unscripted video that I'm making at nearly 6 in the morning, so take everything I'm saying with, like, you know, a pinch. If I screw my words up, give me a break, alright? This game really fucking broke me today, like mentally and almost physically. I felt quite exhausted after playing. I also want to say really early at the start, I do wonder whether it's just the game or whether it's just that I am burned out from this completely now. Whether I'm just burned out. I've actually calmed down. I was in a ranting mood and I vented on Twitter. I just say off of the gameplay today, I've totally uninstalled this game now. Just to start today, just to start playing was tricky enough, because I went and asked the guys I would normally play with, like, hey, do you want to get some games? And everybody was just like, I've uninstalled it, I've uninstalled it, I've uninstalled it, I've uninstalled it. And it was just like, damn, it was actually pretty hard to find people to play with even. I'm reinstalling BF4 right now because I'm going to try that out and see like where things are, because everybody keeps telling me it's much better right now, so the community wise. It's funny that as well, I always think that, where, you know, it's kind of like when a new game comes out, you almost want to go backwards if you want to get the quality gameplay, because anyway, this game, I say this game, it's more this community, and it goes hand in hand with this thing of just pushing mass market sales. It's just like, and I don't want to be mean to like other players, and if they're having a great time, then good for them, you know, like have a great time, have a fun time with the game. But for me, I just can't. It's just fucking pain, just like fucking painful. This game had me literally shouting at the screen tonight, and I don't do that. Like, I'm generally a pretty calm person. Like, I'll play Siege with the guys and I'll have some bastard like fucking headshot me through a window and I'm just like, oh, fuck, you know, like, but I just take it, and you just take a deep breath and you're like, okay, that's cool, whatever, you know. Armor, just killed over and over in armor, whatever. This game tonight was literally had me swearing and swearing and swearing and swearing. Like, I was just like, there's no words for the way some of the things are in this. It's just like, you can't contend with it. The gameplay that I had with Lone Wolf coming up in a bit will sort of highlight that somewhat. It's not, part of it is the game and part of it's the community. And like I say, I don't want to really kind of be like, yeah, you scrubs. You know, I am not the best player at sort of Battlefield in general. I've never even said that. Like, I've always said I'm kind of like a middle of the road player, but my strength was always in kind of like slower style play and sort of outthinking. I'm always not too bad at like micro tactics. Actually, I was playing a bit of Siege earlier today, and that kind of came into play there as well. It was like, I think it was like it was like one person left, and I was playing as IQ, and I think it was like I peeked the corner to kind of go in, and I got a couple of shots in, but we were sort of 1v1, you know, where it's kind of like you both take a few hits, and then I sort of pulled back and then I sort of stepped back into the door, and then I just pushed straight in, and we talked, the guys afterwards were like, why the hell did you push it in? Because I just pushed in and went full auto and managed to get the kill, and that won the round. And the guys were like, why the fuck did you do that? You should have pulled back and like peeked the corner. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what that person was expecting me to do. So it's, you know, that's the kind of where I always feel like I excel with some of these games, is it's not necessarily the gunplay, but more kind of like when I'm doing like little micro tactics in and around buildings, I can usually outplay people in those kind of situations. I would say that's my strength when it comes to Battlefield, but also like team prediction as well. Like I've always been pretty good at kind of like as a team as a whole, like looking at like where you need to go to next ahead of time. It's like with chess, you know, thinking ahead of sort of how many moves ahead do you want to make, and that I've spoken about many times before. Anybody, you guys will laugh. Yeah, World of Warcraft. I know that's kind of become like a joke now with me, like when LT mentioned World of Warcraft. I know, but look, okay. But that's kind of where my whole tactics thing ended up coming from was WoW. But look, okay, so what's the deal with BF1? Why is it so broken? Why am I so broken by the game? It's just so hopeless. Like it just feels, it doesn't matter what you do, how well you do, how hard you push, how many enemies you get on. There's just nobody ever there with you. Like nobody ever there with you. It's just like they do all these gun tweaks and they do all these balancing and all this kind. It doesn't matter. It's fucking meaningless. And it's kind of, it goes, me and Lone Wolf were actually talking this evening, because remember Lone, I got him to do that thing back in Hardline, where I had this theory that, because he's a much better player than me when it comes to gunplay, and he had this, you know, I had this theory that it really doesn't matter what weapon you have, like you can generally do, if you're like a reasonable player, like you can generally do as good, like if you're sort of middle of the road to higher end skill level, you can do just as well with pretty much any gun, because so much of this game now is just situational. It's almost like just complete fluke. Like, yeah, you'll get some moments where you get like the odd streak and here and that, and you know, and you'll get some people that will, like, you know, they'll just roll a tank, and they'll stack those kills or whatever. You're gonna get that. But let's just normal play. If you just play a normal play, you should be able to do generally as good as with most different weapons, because like I say, it's so situational. And I remember when we were looking at Hardline, Lone Wolf was like, no way. It matters so much what gun you choose, so much. And he played, like, we did a whole experiment where he played loads of different rounds, loads of different weapons. And he literally, I've talked about this before, he couldn't believe it. He was like, you're right. He's like, you know, of course, it matters a little more in some situations, but he's like, on the whole, generally speaking, he's like, you're totally right. It really, it's unbelievable. And it's like, yeah, because so you get some kills where you're one-on-one, and of course, your weapon and so on is going to matter in those situations. But a lot of the time when you're getting kills, it's not one-on-one, it's not face-to-face. And so it just really doesn't matter. And that's why I've always said, like, people put so much emphasis on, you know, like, this gun is the god gun, blah, blah. It's a load of bullshit. It's completely meaningless. And so much more of it is about where your team is, how hard are they pushing, how well are they engaging. And this is the kind of thing, like the experience that I got generally this evening, not on this, but on plenty of other games as well, was the classic. Like, nothing has changed. You know, let's be real as well, like I've said before, you know, this has been the state of affairs for years now in Battlefield. And to be fair to DICE, I guess they have tried various initiatives and various bits and pieces. It never went as far as I wanted it to, but I think it's just gone beyond that. And I have talked about that before as well, but it's interesting to kind of come back, and I was sort of curious, like, has anything changed? You know, have things improved? And the answer is not at all. It's just the same. And, you know, that's just one small piece in the puzzle, like the kind of team play. Don't get me started. I mean, I have the chat turned off, but you just don't want to even go near it. It's so abusive. And on top of that, just the fucking icons tonight. I mean, seriously. The icons tonight, so horrific. I mean, we really are down to the bottom of the barrel now. We're down to Call of Duty online trolling bullshit, horrible stuff, like literally bestiality, fisting, Nazis, you know, just every horrible thing that you can think of is in there. And it really is just, why do they even have that? Why do they even who fucking cares what your icon is? Just have a range of really generic stuff and just leave it at that. But no, it's, you see, and these kind of things are the key tells. Okay, these kind of little things are the key tells to take away. And this is what I say when I'm talking about, like, you know, with the Star Wars Battlefront cards and the microtransaction stuff. You've got to read between the lines. Okay, you got to read between the lines. You think these things don't matter, but they do actually paint a picture. And it kind of leads you toward making conclusions about stuff. So you might think, like, oh, player icons are just a bit of fun, doesn't really matter. That's not what I take away from it. I take away that those player icons are indicative of, you know, the kind of audience that they're trying to attract to this game. You know, the kind of audience that actually care about this stuff, the kind of audience that would take the time to make these stupid fucking icons. I don't give a shit about that. Like, and I'm pretty sure that most people that I know who play FPS don't give a shit about that. What they care about is actually having really fun, enjoyable, strong gameplay. But again, that seems to not actually be the focus. It's like it's all these other little bits and pieces, all these other little bullshits, tricks, things. And another thing that I was talking about with the guys tonight, and I don't think I've really ever mentioned about this. My experience tonight, albeit literally felt like I was pulling my fingernails out at some point, but my experience this evening was a very weird one, because most other games like Arma or whatever, any other FPS, Arma or Siege or Verdun or whatever we're playing, okay, Overwatch, although Overwatch is pretty addictive, but I can still step away. But Battlefield, no. And I remember this, because you guys remember when we were live streaming BF4, BF3, Hardline, whatever. I can't step away from this game. Like, the experience is incredibly mediocre. Like, I don't find it exciting or tense at all. Like, there's no clutch. It's just kind of like, whatever, run around, shoot a guy, run, and shoot, run, shoot, whatever. Like, I literally just run around, like, with kind of almost like a stone face. Like, I literally just couldn't give a shit what's happening. But something pulls me in. Something keeps hold of me, and I can't stop playing the game. Like, that's why I'm making this video at 6 in the morning, you know, when I started playing well before midnight earlier on this evening, you know. It's like something about this game makes me not stop playing it, and it's not because I'm enjoying it. I don't know, it's weird. Like, I just can't let go. Like, it's like one more round. Even if I'm having like a miserable time, like, I still seem to want to keep playing. So I don't know what that's all about. But that's always been a thing with Battlefield for me as well. It's just like this weird addiction, like where you kind of can't stop. And I don't know what that is all about. But it really kind of came home to me tonight that I was having this experience where I was just literally going, fuck this, fuck. Like, and yet somehow, like, I still was like, oh yeah, let's get another round. Maybe it'll improve. Maybe it's this weird hope that I have, like this strange, bizarre, masochistic hope that, like, the next round will be a little better. The next round, the guys will make it work. I don't know, but I just wonder whether anybody else has kind of felt that. I have heard like a mixed thing, but yeah, a couple of the guys did kind of agree and were like, yeah, it's weird, and it's almost like it's something to do with the gunplay or something. Like it sort of feels engaging and pulls you in, and there's something just quite satisfying about getting kills in Battlefield. Like, just that engagement, there's something quite satisfying about it. I don't know. But it's a weird thing, and it's just, I don't know. But the whole experience today was just incredibly demoralizing, actually. And, you know, I don't mean for this video to be, like, too much of a just constant moaning downer, but, you know, if I phrased it any other way, I'd be, like, lying and dressing it up. You know, this was my experience. I had some nice highlight moments, I guess, like on some of the different matches, some of the different rounds where, you know, I got a few streaks or, you know, outplayed a guy here, outplayed a guy there. But on the whole, no. Like, you know, on the whole. And the thing is that I remember that that's what my experience was before, and then before, and then before. Like, this is the thing. It's been like that for a while. It's been like that for a while, where it's just kind of hasn't altered. And, you know, everybody keeps saying it always. You're just like, why do you even play anymore, LT? I don't know. Like, I guess because this game was such a big thing for me for such a long time. And, you know, I mean, look at the game. It looks amazing. Like, it looks so fantastic. And like I say, there is something really great with the gunplay. And also, I think, quite honestly, if you were able to set up, like, if I could set up, like, a true core, like, BF player base or whatever, but not this game, but maybe BF4, BF3, but if you could have that, I think it would be really good. Like I say, in the past, we've had, like, these really amazing, solid games where you get, like, this really strong, battling team play, and if we could go back to that, I think it would still be really enjoyable, but not this. And there's other things as well, just that, like I say, when these, like, little tells where you feel like they don't actually give a shit about the gameplay and they're focusing on other things, like how can we sell this, you know? And it's like, it's stuff like the behemoths and the trains and all these kind of, you know, it's like, it's such a gimmick, and it's such a fucking broken gimmick at that, you know, like, it's absolutely, it ruins the gameplay. And again, I can highlight that on a video that we played earlier this evening, but, you know, I could have predicted that for you literally from day one, and I did. You know, I said that this would be a game-breaking thing, and it is. You know, it's like, and it doesn't even make sense. Like, sometimes you'll be, like, winning. Like, we were winning rounds, and then it comes in, and then our entire team gets taken out of the battlefield. Like, so obvious that that's going to happen. It's so obvious that that's going to happen. Why do they do it? Who thought that was a good idea? It's so fucking stupid. It's so fucking stupid. You know, it's like you're winning, and then they give you this stupid big airship or train or whatever, and your whole team's like, oh, let's go for that one, you know? And it's like suddenly there's nobody on the ground to defend the flags. Your squad can't contend with controlling all the flags, and bam, the other team suddenly takes control, and then like kind of you end up in this sort of situation we're in now, but obviously on a bigger map, like a proper conquest map, and you're fucked. And it's just like, why? You know, and then of course, you know, there's so many excuses, isn't oh well, it's people's choice, you know, they can do what they want to, they play their own game, don't tell people how to play, don't tell people how to play. Just, you know, and it's that kind of thing. It's that kind of thing that makes you just think, oh, fuck off, you know, seriously. It just, so done with it, so done with it. And it's the thing that's really frustrating as well is I kind of, in the back of my mind, I always sort of think like, maybe the next one will be much better. I'm not feeling it. You know, and I tell you something else I said on Twitter this evening. So much respect for, like, after playing tonight, so much respect for YouTubers that still play Battlefield as their primary game. How do they do it? How do they survive it? Like, in terms of just the frustration. Like, I think if I had to play BF as, like, my primary game now, I would literally be, like, stressing out. Like, I'd probably be getting ulcers or something. Like, just, honestly, I don't even know how people can contend with it. And it's bizarre, you know, it's really just bizarre. It's like you have a game which looks graphically, and the design that goes into that element is so much further advanced than most other games, and yet the actual gameplay is so much more unsatisfying than some indie games. And, you know, again, it comes back to just that mass market. It's the type of community that the game generates, and that's why I genuinely think that from here on out, this game franchise is, well, for me anyway, just broken beyond repair. I don't think they can do anything in terms of the actual game fixes or design elements which will change it, because you can't change the community now, you know. And this is what I actually said. I swear to God, like, if I went through videos back and looked at it, I'd probably find something where I said this long ago, where you get to a point where you can't change it. And the Battlefield community, I feel, has gone down that path now, and you can't turn it back, you know. And it's part of the community just getting much bigger, much bigger. But it's also, of course, we know that they wanted to steal some of the community away from, like, Call of Duty and that kind of thing. But again, that kind of goes hand in hand with the sort of mass appeal. But, you know, it is possible. It is possible to get still a reasonable experience from this game, but only if you create a private community. And I guess that is the point for me, is like, you know, you have to judge a game on what its public player base is like. Like, any game can be good if you make, like, a private community, because of course it's invite only. It's just like playing with friends, you just find like-minded people. So you can make any game work like that. But if you're judging it in its kind of entirety, in its actual kind of, if you're judging it as a game, as a game's community, you got to play publicly. And this game is fucking unbearable public. Like, it's just unbearable. And previous games were as well. So I think for me, this is the end of the road for this. I mean, it has been for a while, but I've given it a break, come back, and nothing has changed. Bit of a sad end to this state of affairs. I think that I will probably still, at some point, just to throw it out there, I probably still at some point will maybe talk about either this game or other games, like, for example, as I've done with Star Wars, because sometimes it's interesting just from a kind of game industry, game community point of view to kind of look back, address, investigate, find out these things. I find that interesting as a point of reference, but I really didn't anticipate on just how frustrating and unbearable my experience was going to be this evening. And again, sometimes you have a bad night. We all have a bad night. You have to understand that. But I don't think so. I think this represented very well the experiences that I had months and months ago, and you come back in and I experienced the exact same thing. So for me, this is where it's at. Tell me what you think in the comments down below, guys. Thanks for watching as always. I'll see you next time.